Evening, Homer Glen Community, welcome everyone. Roll call please.
Chanarano? Here. DeFilippis? Here. Bichette?
Here.
Martin? Here. Brazier?
Here.
And His.
Here. Yes, here. Can we please stand for the pledge? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin our recognition of visitors and communication to the board, at this time, Dr. Shafi will present his superintendent report.
Good evening, Homer community. In looking to the days and weeks ahead, please know our student safety continues to be our top priority. I want to make sure that our staff and students are able to remain focused on their responsibilities in the classroom. In light of concerns raised by parents and community members, throughout the past 2 days I've been in contact with the Will County Sheriff's Department and the Lockport Police Department to provide support at our buildings. I want to thank them for their support and allocation of available officers to our district. The Will County Sheriff's Office is committed to allocating marked and unmarked patrol deputies to be present around our schools when not handling calls throughout the community. I also welcome and thank our new 33C School Resource Officer, Jake Populorum, to our district. And also, again, thank our Will County Sheriff's Department and Lockport Police Department as we work together to ensure their presence on school grounds for the foreseeable future. In light of recent events, I've directed my administrative team to conduct a thorough review of our process from top to bottom. To be clear, our hiring practice far exceeds the standard practice set forth by the state of Illinois, but it is our highest priority that we audit our process to ensure we select candidates of the highest quality and the best fit for our school community. Specifically, we are currently investigating third-party screening firms and are evaluating the potential to add those services to our hiring process. Per direction from the Board of Education, in the coming weeks, I will be providing them the results of our hiring process evaluation and various recommendations to improve that process. Thank you.
Okay, if I could just take a moment to read the public meeting audience norms. Please, if you could, silence all cell phones. Please refrain from talking or applauding during discussion throughout the meeting. If you'd like to address the board at the meeting, you may complete the citizens' comment form prior to the meeting. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. These 3 minutes cannot be transferred to another petitioner to speak in your place. Please state the purpose for addressing the board at the beginning of your statement. There will be no responses from the board during this time. And if I could just ask, as you step up, if you could state your name before you start speaking. And I believe our first speaker is Mr. John Walters. Oh, and I apologize. The 3-minute time will be displayed on the clock to my left, your right.
Hi, I'm John Walters. First, I'd like to say that we are all created by God, and we're born with God-given dignity, and we deserve and should be treat each other with that God-given dignity. By this hire, the board has probably exacerbated the demons that this individual was dealing with. You didn't do him any favors by hiring him. You definitely made his life more difficult by focusing the public spotlight on him. You've embarrassed our community in the press, Chicagoland area, and country. Due to the coverage of this, you may have now made Homer 33C and our community a target for unstable individuals in this country. Who or what department recommended this individual to the board? By what process? The board needs to conduct an investigation. The total process needs to be reviewed and overhauled. Someone needs to be held accountable, reprimanded, and/or dismissed. There has to be consequences for what happened here. Thank you.
members of the board, parents and fellow community members.
Just one second. And you can state your name.
Angel Shake, I'm sorry, hold on. I stand here before you as a deeply concerned and frankly angry parent, driven to address a matter that has left us all shaken and appalled. The recent incident that has exposed a shameful lack of oversight and accountability within our own Homer 33 school district. Let me cut through the pretense and lay it plain and simple. Our children's safety has been compromised, and the school board's negligence has been laid bare for everyone to see. We entrusted you with the education and well-being of our children, and what have we gotten? Negligence, a shocking disregard for basic due diligence. You all know what I'm talking about. The art teacher who had the audacity to share disturbing, unsuitable content on his social media, the kind of content that should have never come near our students. References to disturbing subjects, admissions of mental instability coupled with violent undertones, and even a chilling quote, artistic revenge, have all been brushed under the rug by the board. It didn't take the discerning parents long to dig up these unsettling pieces of evidence. We saw them, we were horrified by them, and we wondered how the heck this teacher made it through any sort of screening process. We trusted you to ensure that our children were safe. Their teachers were suitable role models, and you failed. You failed us and you failed our children. I can't even begin to comprehend how to let this slide. Did you think we wouldn't find out, or did you think we would just let our kids be exposed to the darkness without a fight? You were wrong. The parents, the ones who should never have had to bear that burden, have come together in a united front to demand accountability. It was only the collective outrage and insistence that prompted a special meeting and the eventual dismissal of the teacher. It's a testament to our community's strength and determination that we were able to get any action at all. Let me be clear, this isn't where it ends. The incident isn't just about one teacher. It's about the entire system that allowed this to happen. It's about a school board that either failed to do its job or worse, turned a blind eye to the potential dangers. It's about a superintendent, a human resources director, who should have been looking out for the kids but clearly dropped the ball. We're not asking for resignations out of some sense of vengeance. We're demanding resignations because you've shown us that you're not responsible for this job. You've shown us that you can't be trusted to keep the children safe. And that isn't a call for justice, it's a call for accountability. If you don't think that we're aware of the avenues available to us, the Illinois School Code grants us the power to initiate recall petitions against the school board members for neglect of duty and misconduct. It's a tool that we will use if we have to, for those that were responsible for the gross negligence to be held accountable. So to the school board, the superintendent, the human resources director, know this, we're not backing down, we're not going away, our children's safety is not negotiable. And we demand action. Our anger is justified, our demands are justified.
We have to respect the other speakers. Thank you. Number 37, please. Maybe you just state your name, please.
Hello, my name is Tammy Hayes of Homer Glen. I'm here along with many other community members demanding protection and safety for our students, as well as accountability with actual consequences for those at the front of this situation. A weak apology is not enough. If something this egregious could slip through the cracks, what else has or will in the future? Real consequences handed out by those with the ability and or the power to do so. The second reason why I'm here is since this has come about, we have lost a board member here. So now we have an empty seat. Had this empty seat been available on April 4th of 2023, the voters actually would have told you who they wanted as their option. So I understand it as that this school board is going to need to put out an application for people to apply. If and when those applications come in, and anyone who took the time to get their signatures, get themselves on the ballot, and vie for this position is in that group of applicants, I think that you should go to the voter rolls and look at who your community already asked you to put in that spot, had there been a fourth seat open. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Steve Selucky. I might go 10 seconds over, I'll try to speak quickly. I spoke on Sunday and along with others outlined that the resolution to terminate this teacher was not the end of the threat to our community. There's a possibility that this individual could seek revenge on the town that fired him, and the 33C school district is now a target. Even if the individual himself does not pose a threat, since his situation has gained national attention, many that can relate to and support this teacher may have their sights set on Homer Glen. I urge everyone to remain vigilant and ensure that safety stay on top of our minds in coming times. Now I want to address the opposition. I'd like to take some time to address those that oppose the decision to terminate this teacher and some of the arguments you might present. America has freedom of speech, and yet we persecute this individual for enacting that right. The First Amendment is in place to protect the citizens from government limitations on our speeches. However, we don't have ultimate freedom to say whatever without consequence. In the public sector, employers have a broad scope of limitations that they can enforce. For an educator, limitations are regarding disruptive and disrespectful speech towards students, family, and the broader community. This includes on the job, off the job, and even in personal situations. Showing contempt for the community you serve, such as bringing the revolution to a white-collar suburb, would be an example. In addition, this individual is not being arrested for his speech, but is also not being allowed to teach here because of it. The next argument is that we shouldn't judge people. False. In line with Martin Luther King Jr., we judge this individual not on his identity, but by his behavior and content of character. He admitted to being violent, we judged on it. From an investigation, we uncovered that he was terminated from prior teaching institutions for inappropriate behavior with students, again, judged on it. Judgment is an acceptable and encouraged practice as long as it is on the grounds of the individual's character and not their identity. Lastly, stigmatizing mental health. Two things can be true at once. One, we have sympathy and compassion for this individual and implore him to find help to be well. And number two, he's a self-admitted violent and can't be allowed around our children. He's a victim of his circumstance, but safety of our community is a priority. Now, addressing the board. I said on Sunday that I believe you not to be evil and ill intent. However, I will add that I find you to be corrupted. To clarify, there are three types of typical corruption. One, receiving money and favors to buy influence. That's not relevant. Number two, gaining power to pursue personal interests, again, not relevant. Corruption by self-preservation, however, which is relevant here. A public official is sworn to protect and uphold the duty of their office they are elected into. Many public officials neglect this duty and their actions are focused towards keeping their positions of power at the detriment of those they serve. I assert this by reviewing the public statement provided by the board at Sunday's board meeting and published afterwards. The superintendent was remorseful in his response, apologized, took ownership of the problem, and took a call to action. The board, however, provided the most sterilized and tone-deaf statements to the public I have ever seen.
Here, here.
There was no apology, no ownership of the problem, no responsibility taken, blame pointed elsewhere, but you did falsely claim ownership of the resolution by asserting the board took action. The board did further investigation. The owners of the solution are the community that identified the threat and demanded swift action. Last point.
But we have to be respectful, everyone.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
We respect you, keep going. Respect you, keep
I know
going.
our request for resignation will fall on deaf ears, so myself and others from the community will be stepping up in the next election cycle. You will
You're
not
here.
run unopposed. Our goal will be to fill these seats with individuals of a sound mind, righteous convictions, and intent to provide supreme education and safety to our children.
I live in Victoria Crossing. I'm a parent of 3 young children. One is in the district now, 2 are coming in through the years. Something that resonates with this district is our #1 priority is, all right, well, you guys blew that one big time. Right now, I'd like to discuss the priorities because somewhere along the line, priorities from the district have gone straight. The hiring of a particular person should have never happened. That's your fault. Every one of you sitting on that board, it's your fault. The first priority was to remove that individual. That's been done. You don't have to rehash any of that stuff. Dr. Shabi, I read your email yesterday afternoon, and I don't care what you can or can't discuss about the individual. That's not the point. The point is how you failed. You are the charge of the board. You're the board superintendent. Every decision that comes out of this board gets rubber stamped by you. Ultimately, you are in charge. Our next priority is the safety of the children in the schools that you're in charge of. You all had part in making what should be a safe environment for our children a possibly dangerous one. We talked about all the red flags during horrific incidences that we've seen so many times on the news. These are the red flags, guys. How many times do we have to see some of this shit happen on TV where everyone's like, oh, I wish I would have seen his social media post. Oh, I wish we would have Googled him. Congratulations, you failed again.
It's too late sometimes.
We found them, now it's time to act on that. Extra security measures need to be in place, not only for this week, not only for next week, but for an extended period of time. We can't let our guard down anytime soon. Not one of you, obviously, has ever looked in the eyes of an evil individual and seen the violence that they can do, or seen the length that they will go to enact violence. None of you, clearly, have ever looked at somebody in the eye that is willing to hurt people. You're seriously not taking this threat to our community. You are not taking the threat to our community seriously. The least you can do is make sure our kids are protected. Our next priority is asking that all of you resign your positions. I'm so tired of hearing these apologies of how you're working on to regain my trust, because you've lost it and you're not getting it back. Come up with a plan, make sure our children are safe, and get out. We will accept nothing other than your resignation. Not one of, we'll take one of your quotes. We hear you, specifically Dr. Shafi, you've used that a couple times. However, we don't accept your apologies. There is no defense for any of you to remain on this board. You were either complacent or negligent when this individual was hired. Either way, the community has no use for you, your apologies, or your excuses. Your form letters are garbage. We're tired of hearing. We hear you. We understand. No, you clearly don't, because you've made this huge mess and have done nothing to inform the parents. I got all my information from the principal of the school. How ridiculous is that? That we had to take extra time instead of writing board letters to you guys. We had to take extra time to figure out what kind of safety measures are coming in. It's coming from the administration at the school, where it should be coming from you. Dr. Shafi, I'm looking directly at you because it's your problem.
America, I want to be calling you. That's right.
My name is Stephanie Kovacic, and I have a granddaughter at the school. And I just want to talk about what was on the news. A picture was on the news. It was of the Pride Parade in the city of Chicago. A banner was displayed. It was about 6 or 8 feet long and about 2.5 feet high. And you know what it read? Satan. It had the name Satan on this banner. And there were a group of homosexuals walking behind it in the parade. And the homosexuals, the people that were behind it, were chanting this word over and over again. And some of you may have heard of it. It says, we are here, we are queer, we are coming for your children. We are here, we are queer, we are coming for your children. This is a threat, a very serious threat that parents have to pay attention to. And to the school board directors here, I just want to ask you a question. Why are you here? Think about why you're here. Are you using this experience as a stepping stone to get into the world of politics? You know, people do that. They start out as board directors, and then they go up the ladder in politics, like so many have done in the past. Or are you really concerned about the welfare of our children?
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Sheridan. I'm with a group called Gays Against Groomers. This is going to get a little weird. The main concern we should all have with this person who was fired, at least in my opinion, is the fact that they identify by they, them pronouns. They, them pronouns is essentially a belief that one can be non-binary or that you were born in the wrong body. This is influenced by a field of thought called queer theory. And in queer theory, it's not really a field of study, it's more of a system of belief in which a person literally feels as if they've been imprisoned in the wrong body and they believe they can modify their own body in order to escape that prison. This is what these people believe. So there is an element that is inherent to queer theory, and that is called praxis. Praxis is essentially proselytization. It's going out to the world to spread the good word of queer theory. The good word of queer theory essentially tells children that they can be born inside the wrong body. As you see all over the country, this is a really contentious topic. In Europe, in multiple countries, they've already stopped these gender transition procedures. However, in America, they have not, because America has gone insane. Pure madness. There is literally, it's what's called an unfalsifiable belief. You cannot prove or disprove the idea that you'd be born inside the wrong body. You can't prove it or disprove it. It's almost like a religious faith. In fact, it is a religious faith. So when you hire someone who identifies as they, them, you need to be like very explicit with them and not allow them to incorporate what is called queer praxis into the classroom. Besides telling a child that they can be born inside the wrong body, one of the other main facets of queer theory is the actual overthrow of anything normative, such as the idea that a man is born a man and a woman is born a woman. They literally believe that sex is assigned at birth and that the doctor can get it wrong. Not only is this a belief, it's also mental illness. It's also not factually true. Everyone knows this, and yet we allow a few select minority people who suffer from mental illness and are confused and don't know really where they fit into society. We essentially allow these people to boss us around under the threat of being called bigots. So while you should not discriminate against gay people or people that identify as they, them, or as a man who identifies as a woman, you should definitely take care to talk to them to make sure that they cannot incorporate queer praxis into the education process. This is a huge reason why so many children are confused, is because these people literally believe it is their God-given right to express their truth, and their truth is, like I said, madness. I highly recommend discernment going forward in the future in terms of hiring somebody based on this. You must be made aware that this is essentially a religious belief. Telling someone that they can be born in the wrong body, and I'm almost done here, telling somebody that they can be born in the wrong body as a fact is like telling someone that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior as a fact. It can't be proven, it can't be disproven. It's indoctrination. And the government supports it, by the way. Joe Biden is actively in favor of mutilating children. Yeah, it's going on.
Mike Dean, a BFW member from 5788. I just want to bring up the attention to the board and to the parents here. I'm in here to Patriots Pen. And in this is, how are you inspired by America? This is you can have somebody in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade write a 300 to 400 word essay on this. Because what's going now in this country is a shame.
Yep.
I saw communists at the best. I saw them in Vietnam. I've been up in many places talking. And I always talk now pride in that flag. Very much pride in that flag. I honor that flag. And integrity is what it is. There it is. 1,500,000 people died from the Revolutionary War to now. That's just death. That's not the people that were wounded, injured, afflicted. But yet, like this last man just said, how appalling can we have somebody be transgender? It's beyond my belief. I didn't fight for that. I fought for the freedom of capitalism, the best for America. Yeah, I was a truck driver. So does that make me the best? Yes, in my field I was the best. But now I'm sitting in front of a board that tried to bring an individual in here that was absolutely a sin to my eyes. How appalling can that be to any of you up there to let him in? You don't even know what's going on? I brought my tax bill here, and I listened to one of the, I think it was the doctor up there, that stressed he needed the police here. He wanted them here. You know, we pay the police less than teachers, but we need the police. I need the police. I've been in this community for 37 years. I paid my taxes. I don't want to pay them to the school districts anymore. Right now, 33C, and this was by a couple of years, $3,191. Take that off, I can buy medicine for my wife or myself. I always respected the school system. Not anymore. It's a shame what you're doing to our kids. It's a shame, and that's why I'm saying, how are you inspired by America? I want to see every 6th, 7th, and 8th grader write this, and then read it, and see how they're inspired by their parents, and by their teachers. I know my kids, they're inspired about America, but not what I'm seeing anymore on television. The military is down now. They can't get people in the military. How ashamed. I know my number was 39. I came out and I took great pride. They spit on me. They called me a baby killer. How does that make me feel? Not too good. But I went on with my life. I raised a couple of great kids and had a great life in America. And I will go to any school and I see the superintendent here of the schools. And if she lets me in to talk to people about this program, to have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders write about America, I'll be more than willing to go to every school in Will County to tell them about America. How proud I am and about God, family, and country, and that's how I treat people. 3 things, and I'll repeat it again. God, family, country. Thank you very much, and I'll applaud you so much.
What?
43.
Hi, my name is Neil Canelli. Remember my face? Thank you for allowing me to address you today. My number one concern today is security, safety. Although I applaud you for the dismissal of the teacher in question, I do have some very, very real concerns. I believe your response has been inadequate and lacking in details. I made a very tough decision to keep my children home on Monday because the communication I received from you guys was so lacking, I didn't have any details about the security. I had very little to say about it. I could not in good conscience allow my children to go to school because of the nature of the individual in question and the times we live in now. I was very worried about retaliation. The communication said that you would have a full-time school resource officer, a full-time school resource officer, who would be circulating around the district schools. That was the way I read it, and it says one single resource officer, and for that, I really applaud you. But that's just one officer. We need to have more than one officer circulating all of our district schools. What is this, like a foxes in a hen house? What happens if you guard in one hen house? What's going to happen? I understand you got the local police right now helping out, but that's not going to be a permanent solution, is it? Now, I understand that you say that there is no active threat right now, and that may be as far as to the letter, no threat, but I tell you now, there is a national spotlight put on us. Not just the local, and not just retaliation from this fellow. There's a national spotlight put on us. So yeah, we need to have a better plan. Not just one resource officer. We need to have at least one resource officer for every school, at bare minimum. And yeah, I had to hear this from the school principals. I didn't hear from you guys. We had to figure out what was going on. This should not be up to the school principals to dictate what happens with security. Yeah, they can ask them, but it should be you guys telling us what is going on. We need to have communication from you guys. I'm not looking for every little detail, but a little bit would be nice. I need to have confidence in you. You want trust? You want my confidence? Earn it back, please. Please give me the security I'm asking for. Please give me the confidence to trust you. I got you. I'm about finishing up. Want me to trust you? I can't. Remember my face. You know what? If you don't step up, I will.
My name is Gianna Glorioso, and I was a former student through Homer 33C districts from 2013 to 2016. My time at this school was an average experience, except for a few years of some bullying. I went to the administration and higher up individuals to ask for help, and I was greeted with coldness and victim blaming, as if it was my fault, and I asked for it. I know many other former students who have gone to the administration during their time in the school who were also faced with the cold shoulder and lack of caring. This school never showed any care for their student safety when I attended here 10 years ago. And you obviously still don't. The indecent lack of accountability and concern for the past and current students is humiliating, and you all should be sick. I am in school studying criminal justice, and I can comfortably say that the facts of this current situation raises many red flags and signs of another school shooting. Taken from NPR.org, it is stated that, quote, the keys to prevention are to spot the earliest behavioral signs that an individual is struggling, and to watch for signs that someone may be veering towards violence, end quote. They also talk about watching for the signs when an individual has had a loss, humiliation, and there is anger and blame. We as a community are watching all of these signs fall into place. So what will your safety plan be? You had and still have a lack of responsibility for these children. And I can only hope that you are not as conceited to have had a lack of safety for them as well. As former/present teachers, this subject should not be in question. This should be common sense, and that is too nice of a word for it. The safety of your students should be a basic instinct to protect them. You should all be ready to throw yourselves in front of these children to protect them, and I know none of you will, especially when you could not use your power to stop the bully. For Mrs. Hitzman, I had you for science and social studies in my 6th grade year. You were one of my favorite teachers ever. It is very disappointing to see you sit here and make these decisions with no regard to the community or the students and their parents. To Homer 33C, you have let my class down 10 years ago, and I really hope you can all pull your heads out of your asses and take responsibility to not let these children be put in harm's way. Thank you.
45. Christian Rogers. Tim Sipowicz. Do I have number 46?
All right, good evening. My name is Tim Sipowicz, and I have a child who just started school in this district. I sat in the crowd on Sunday evening while waiting to hear your decision regarding the dismissal of this employee. Even though I completely agree with the decision and appreciate the responsiveness of the matter, I cannot give you the credit for the decision. I give the credit to the parents who did more for free and in such a short amount of time than you all did over the past few months when this is the job you were all hired to do. I give credit to the parents who weren't afraid to share and vocalize their concern of the graphic and disturbing subject matter they discovered, despite the backlash that they may receive. If those said parents didn't take the time to research the incoming teachers who are going to be with our children day in and day out, then your blatant lack of due diligence in the vetting process would have landed this individual right in there with our children. The disturbing and graphic material previously stated is exactly what this whole push and uproar is about. It confuses me greatly when individuals try to twist the narrative and make it out to be about this teacher's gender or sexual orientation, when the concern has absolutely nothing to do with either. It's so disheartening and disappointing when the material discovered is so blatantly evil and violent that we all just can't come together in unity and agreement that this person does not belong in the school system around children. Can a person change? Absolutely. However, there was nothing ever provided to prove that individual has in fact changed. The only supportive statement that I ever came across among the countless posts around this individual were that people can change. No statements from the individual, no defending comments from the school regarding his character, no defending posts or statements from relatives, friends, or past coworkers, nothing at all. All we have to go off of are the graphic images, captions, and videos this individual probably shared. The admitted uncontrollable violent outbursts and a blatant call for a revolution within Will County, the place where he was mistakenly hired. All red flags that certainly don't warrant him being around our children in hopes that he has in fact changed. You, the school board, along with the HR department in charge of hiring this person, have failed us immensely, and we need to know how this was missed. My family, like many others, have moved out to this area so our children can attend quality schools. We put our trust in you to make sure the best decisions for our children. We put our trust in you to make the best decisions for our children, and we must know the changes will be made going forward so that something like this is not missed again, because it is absolutely inexcusable. In regards to the updated security measures that are happening now, they are very much appreciated, but I believe things cannot go back to status quo in the future. We must ensure that there will be a police presence assigned to each school during all school hours for the remainder of the year. That means at least one officer at each school in the district, not just one officer rotating from building to building. The staff and students need to feel protected and safe throughout their entire school day. And if you care about their safety like you say you do, then this will be the plan put in place moving forward. We live in a much different world today, and because of your lack of due diligence, you have put a national target on our backs, and we need to stay vigilant in regards to our children's safety. We are a community that cares deeply about our children's safety and what is best for them, period. We are not a community of bigots that unfortunately some are labeling us as due to the situation. We as a community will always welcome anyone who has the best intentions for our children. But we will always also refuse anyone who comes with numerous and blatant warning signs. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lori Kibben. I'm a teacher in a nearby town, and I have 3 kids in the district. I want to address the parents first. I don't know how you felt after this board meeting on Sunday, but I left more terrified.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
I hope I don't cry. I'm a crier. I didn't sleep Sunday at all. I laid in bed. Holding my 2 youngest. I am a teacher. I think about these things every day. It wasn't the job I signed up for. But I have never, ever questioned whether or not I was sending my kids to die the next day. Ever. And I did Sunday. Because I'm a teacher, how many of you did too? Do you know that there is more security in this building right now than you have for the entire district? Protecting all of our children. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? How dare you? I'm thankful that you fired the person that you mistakenly hired. Thankful for that. But you have placed our children in the crosshairs. And it is not acceptable by any stretch of the imagination. Parents, don't give up. I'm tired. I know you're tired. We work hard. We have lunches to make tonight and homework to do. We have backpacks to check, and some of us do it alone. Don't give up. Because they're going to have to listen if you don't give up.
Right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Baer. I spoke Sunday on this matter, and I did submit the Freedom of Information Act to find out who on this board takes money from the school teachers unions for their campaign. Also,
There we go.
Save you some time.
so you would swear to that under the FOIA Act that you've never taken money from a teachers union?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I'm taking money
You have.
from no one.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not sure the others have.
Don't burn your time on it.
Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to call into question here this article I had come across today. And it's something that the American Federation of Teachers are doing, or did, in January of 2023, where they held a conference and coached their members on how to inject gender identity politics into classroom teaching. So this report was published Wednesday by the Conservative Defense of Freedom Institute. Now this is a conference that took place. It was called the Teach Conference. Also in my Freedom of Information Act, I also requested how many teachers attended this from 33C and who actually paid for it. Because most of you in this room, all of you in this room, have gotten a tax bill where you've seen your taxes be increased. Again, I just bought my home in Homer Glen a year ago. I haven't done anything to make it worth more money, but apparently it's been assessed at more money because it's gone up 7% now. And we don't know where this money goes. It says it goes to you, this lump sum, but as the last speaker stated, all the security is here, it's nowhere else. As a veteran, and to the veterans in this room, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have looked evil in the face multiple times, and we know it doesn't go away. It's never going to go away. And your disdain for us when we bring this up is extremely disheartening. What I don't understand is why any of you are still sitting here today and have not turned in letters of resignation. That is the problem, because you have not heard us. You have completely ignored us from day one, from this, whomever hired this person to right now. You've ignored us because you're all still sitting here today and you have taken no action to hold yourselves accountable and said, I'm done, I resign. Again, if you have a student in this district and you're on this board, fine. If you don't have a student in this board, your time's done, get out.
Yep.
And get out now. Craig, you need to go. That's just it. Go on. In the civilian world, in the regular business community, we're held to a higher standard. In the military, we're held to a higher standard. This would not be tolerated at my current employer. This mistake, this oversight, whatever it was, we would be gone. Unfortunately, what we see in the public sector is that screw up, move up. That's what happens here. That's what's continuing to happen here. So I'm tired of seeing my kids indoctrinated. I'm tired of seeing them not learning the proper lessons and being subjected to people with mental disorders, because that's what this is. This is a mental disorder. There's no way around it. It's a documented fact. It should not be praised. It should not be glorified. It should not be rewarded. This mental issue also comes with violent tendencies. as we've seen. If you go outside the scope, outside of the regular news, you've seen the fact where this community has been violent against people that don't hold their same beliefs. This is going to continue. And as I stated on Sunday, not only this individual, but now you have his followers, their followers, and so on, that have put big targets on our backs and our kids' backs. Why don't you use a little of that money to maybe put some veterans, 2 or 3 veterans that are looking for jobs, arm them and put them in schools. We've lost all respect for you. We've lost all confidence in you. We've lost all faith. There's no longer any trust. You all need to go.
Brent Porfilio, this is short, Jesus Christ. Speak with the mic here. I'm a proud Roman Catholic, Knights of Columbus member, and I have 4 kids. 3 went through 33C back in the day, and everything was fantastic when my kids were here. And I'm here for my neighbors' kids, I'm here for my friends' kids, and I'm here for everybody's kids in this room, speaking as another parent. So I'm here obviously talking about hiring and firing of Chris Martin, the satanic violent individual that was for some reason hired. Let's first talk about taxes. Few people talked about them tonight. Number 1 on my tax bill, 40% of my annual taxes goes to 33C, over $4,000. And the combined salaries of the 2 people responsible for hiring this guy, Superintendent Shoppy, I'm sorry if I destroy your name, HR Director Portwood, approaching $350,000 combined salary. I've worked in companies with over 300 employees that have HR directors with an associate's degree, and they were able to not have problems like this ever. Associate's degree. You guys got PhDs. I don't know. You screwed up. You fell on your faces on this one. The board members, the recent election, the Integrity Party. I was bombarded with mailers every damn week, social media posts, text blasts, email blasts about how wonderful they are and how they're looking out for our children. I'm like, oh, these people, wow. They think they're like the best thing since the wheel. I unfortunately am a home Republican. There's a lot of them in the room. There's some of them that ran for 33C and did not win. And I say to you, kudos, because they're the ones that told everybody in the public about what the hell's going on here. They're the ones that found out about this guy. Not the Integrity Party people that were elected. No, nobody said shit about that. You approved it. But the home Republicans figured it out. Grassroots effort. They notified State Senator Mark Curran about it. They told the public about it. It was awesome. Let's talk about diversity. Kids don't give a shit about what color the teacher is, what sex the teacher is. We just don't want a woke teacher with violent tendencies. Don't try to worry about balancing the people on the staff. Worry about quality. You hire a painter at your house. Do you give a shit what color he is? No. Who's the best guy for the job? That's who I'm going to hire. You got to think about things that way. Safety. You got one guy over here, God bless your heart, that's got to run between 6 damn schools. How in the hell is that going to work?
Yeah.
You have 5 clones? I don't think he does. A lot of people talked about safety. Jesus Christ, this guy, this Chris Martin guy, he said he wants revenge. I think I read that on social media, right, Tammy? Revenge of the artistic nature. I don't know what the hell that is, but safety needs to be stressed. These kids, just 6-year-olds, they're just learning how to wipe their rear end. They don't have the mental or physical capacity to defend themselves. We need to depend on parents and gentlemen like this, armed to protect our damn kids. Moving forward, I think all of you should resign. There should be some kind of responsibility taken by someone. Everybody up there is like, oh, well, you know, we fired him, so we did our job. You didn't do your job. You screwed up and let this guy in. Don't ever let it happen again. I'm done.
Layla Kaplan, Homer Glen. I spoke on Sunday. I'm speaking again. First, I'm going to address you, Superintendent. Look, while I'm talking, please. Thank you. You said there's no threat. Do you think Sandy Hook had prior threats? Do you think Columbine had prior threats?
Yeah.
Do you think? Does there need to be a threat for us to be concerned with all of this that's happening?
Yep.
Now you're talking about adding more pay out of our taxpayers by hiring an outside company to do their job, to look at all the new hires, while you have overpaid assistant superintendent of HR who failed to do their job. Yet, mamas of Homer 33C did it in minutes for free. For free. I paid a pretty darn penny for my kids to come to this district. Okay? I'm going to leave you with a couple more things. You're talking about you just got hired a new SRO. I just learned today that the board was presented with the plan to hire retired police officers for each building that would have cost the same amount of money as an SRO. I love my SROs. Thank you for your jobs. I am a law enforcement family as well. I appreciate you. It has nothing to do with you. Yet the board said, no, having an SRO looks better on paper. That might not be the words that you guys said, but that is ultimately what you did. Okay? You guys are overpaid, overconfident, but incompetent. Clearly to do your job. To the public, grooming is the word that I want to leave you with. Grooming. Second word was inside job. Think about it.
Number 51, Joseph.
First, I'll start by apologizing for some of my vitriol, lack of decorum, at the very end of my statement. Something I should say. It's not what I really wanted to come across.
We can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you.
Put it by cover.
You gotta pick it up there.
Thank you.
Strange turn of events. Now I'm the one that's had the wind taken out of my sails by everybody else's comments. So let's talk about the brass tacks here. Taxes. We all pay good money to send our kids. We're concerned about their education. We're concerned about their safety. We're concerned about your hiring practices. Your community is here, okay? I'm not taking back what I said. I do want you all to vote. And by today, it's gotten worse. What do they say? The eyes are the windows of the soul. I've sat here and watched each and every one of you as your community is speaking to you, and I see cold callousness and indifference. That's all I see. I see exactly what one of the other speakers said. You're worried about the jobs. That's all you're worried about. That's all I can see. I can't see anything else, not in your emails, not in your body language, not in your eyes. You won't even look at me. Miss Martin, sit there and look at your paper.
That's what they do.
This is your community speaking. You're making a mistake. You're making a big mistake. Because you're looking at your community. We want you out. We want you gone. They use the word, you dropped the ball. You did so much more than drop the ball. You did so much more than drop the ball. You gambled with our children's safety by not having the proper hiring procedures in place for the day and age that we live in. We live in a day and age for what everyone else here has told you. People will attack your children. You're charged with that. You say you're going to put this out to a third party to do the work. We want to see mental health evaluations. I've already said that the first time. You haven't even addressed that. We want to see mental health evaluations. I'm not going to attribute false motives or anything like that, but if you're scared of the teachers' unions, your community is here. To hell with the teachers' unions. We don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care. If you need our support to go against the teachers' unions, you got it. All right? At least in that, you got it. Community, school resource officer, great job. Not enough. There's 6 schools. My taxes, I just got assessed. Just like they said, I just got assessed. My taxes went up astronomically, okay? And for the amount of money that we pay in taxes, I think we can afford to have a school resource officer in every school.
Yep.
If we cannot, your community is here once again. Have a discussion. Take a poll. Do what you need to do. Let's find a way to get some security in each school. Something. Because it's, as everyone has said, the spotlight's on us. We have a threat now. As I forget her name, but the teacher that came up earlier, I kept my kids home from school because I was scared about what might happen the following day. We are in the limelight, and our kids are in danger. So what we want from you in the interim, until the community decides what we're going to do with you, is we want the hiring practices revamped. We want mental health evaluations for your new hires. Okay, so that's got to change, and we want security in the schools.
Tomorrow.
We want security in the schools.
Tomorrow.
Figure it out. We pay enough money.
Permanent.
We pay enough money. It's not even a question. We pay enough money to have our kids protected. And by your dropping the ball, you put them in harm's way. And you need to do what you need to do to make our kids safe. That's our concern. Those are our concerns. Listen to everything that everybody said. Those are the concerns. Have a nice day.
I wasn't going to speak, but I looked around and didn't have as many people as Sunday, and I wanted to make sure something got out. You know, it's appalling how all this stuff is. There's nothing good about it. And all the people here, they all have excellent things to say, and I can just give you some of the things that I'm hearing. I'm hearing about consolidating this school district with another school district and eliminating all the administrative staff and combining them because of the cost, because they don't trust this school. And I got a feeling now other school districts aren't going to trust the boards they have either, because trust is the most important thing. So all this consolidation stuff, that might be the answer. You take all 5 schools, you eliminate the principals. How much money you save? And I'm not saying it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing, but this is what I'm hearing, and it's factual. Some places, some cities have the regional superintendent of schools is here, Elizabeth Caffarelli-Ruff. Nice lady. But unfortunately, I have to say, other places have her position, her job, control every school as a superintendent. Every single one of them, other cities. And then they have a principal. That's it. So we have administration that's bloated, and that's why your taxes are up. And that's in all of them. But now when you have an issue like this, now you have trust. A couple people talked about trust. Where's it at? Nobody trusts the school at all after this. So you know, like you try to calm people down, you can do whatever you want, but trust is lost. And when trust is lost, you got a problem. Personally, when I hear this all settling down, whatever happens in the future, I want to make sure that the counselors that go to these schools are vetted thoroughly. Not just the teachers, the counselors too. How do we know that the counselor isn't the same thing? Counseling one of our kids that's got a problem and they're crazier than the last guy. Right?
Yeah.
So it's really important that we gain trust back, and I don't know how that's going to happen.
It won't.
But it might not. But in any event, we have to look at the other things. Who's going to talk to our children? Because the lady last, I think her name was Renee, last Sunday. She was the last speaker. And she really made me think about it. What's going to happen to our children? Our children are listening to all this stuff. Their friends are probably all talking about it. They're probably all afraid of going to school. How do they feel? You guys are all pissed off. I'm pissed off. You know, everyone's mad. But what about the little kids? What are we doing for them? And then if somebody says, well, we'll get them counseling, I don't trust the counselors. I want to make sure that they're vetted. How long is that going to take? And who's going to vet them?
Not them.
You know, so, I mean, this is a super big problem. And it's going to take a lot of effort to get this fixed. And when these people say, hey, you guys got to resign, they ain't kidding around. What I just said about consolidating school districts, that's been going around a lot. And I talked to Senator Kern today. He's pissed off. And it takes a lot to get a Republican in the state, she's a state Senate, angry because they're so outnumbered. He's going to push for legislation that's going to force school districts to vet better. But you know what? It's going to take everybody to get this straightened out. And I don't know what's going to happen, but trust has to be reinstated.
Sarah. John Thompson.
Yes. John Thompson, home resident. Craig, I know you're in a tough spot. You have two masters. You have the board, and you have the community. The board is your livelihood. Without them, you don't have a job. So I respect what you're doing. I do have a question. You have people underneath you. Are you analyzing with your current managed service provider or your current IT all of the logs that were on district, Wi-Fi, hardline in, whoever viewed that gentleman's LinkedIn and Facebook pages because they were open?
Talk louder.
Sorry. Are you viewing all of the logs for every employee that is a district employee with a district laptop or computer to see if they viewed that gentleman's LinkedIn page and Facebook page? They were open. The community deserves to know. Those people that viewed it and saw those posts should automatically resign immediately. And if that was you, I'm sorry, but you have to as well. To the board. You took an oath. And for the time, I'm going to say the whole oath, but I'm going to read one line. I shall respect taxpayers' interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. Assets being children, being the number one asset of the district. We cannot recall them. The state of Illinois does not allow that. But what it does allow is us to find out if you violated that oath. And I guarantee you, every single member in this community will do that. I want you to think of something. The precedent has been set for payouts for families of school shootings. Douglas High School School District settled with families for $25 million. We say we can't afford $650,000 for an officer at every single school to pay them well. Handle those lawsuits. Can they afford it? Probably not. Can you withstand the depositions, the trials, the continuous images of a massacre? Have your names tied to an incident that could have been prevented? And I know no one wants to think of this, but it's not that gentleman that I'm 100% worried about. I'm worried about every single other copycat. How are we going to manage social media when we couldn't look at it for a hiring and we're going to worry about threats?
We have 2 weeks of school security. Why was it not explained in the email? I feel that was left off because the 10-day mark of school with state funds is important. You don't want everybody pulling their kids if it was sooner.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yep. Where's how much of the $1.4 million is left from the COVID relief? And what was it used on, and can we use that for safety?
The budget.
What is your action plan, and I think this needs to be brought up at the next board meeting, to monitor threats against the school? You cannot worry on the state police, you cannot worry about, and worry with Will County. You have to do something as a school district to monitor all threats. Last thing, will you allow private funds to pay for security at schools? And if this answer is yes, as many people said, they will pitch in. I promise every single board member I will do whatever it takes to remove them if you make us pay separately to protect our children. Please know that. We're willing to raise the funds, and I'm willing to spearhead it if I have to. I do not want to pull my kids out of this district, but I don't want them in a body bag. And that's on each one of you. And I want you to think of the images other school districts went through and how their lives changed in the school shootings in every single community. Just think of that. Thank you.
This pair?
55.
Yeah. All right, I'm not a public speaker, so I'm probably going to talk really fast because it's what I do. Cyber Chappie and members of the board.
I'm sorry,
Louder.
can you just state your name for me,
Yeah,
please?
sorry.
The microphone just for online.
It's just for the.
Oh, you just have to talk about it.
You just have to-
Oh, okay, I need to hear that. Okay, I'm here tonight to speak on the subject of your professional integrity, especially concerning competency. The start of every school year is met with a degree of stress.
Could you talk a little louder?
Sure.
Thank you.
Histor-
People over there.
Okay. Historically, that stress is positive, and the start of the year is marked by excitement and new wonder. This year was preceded by negative stressors. This is a transitive year. Many in this community are experiencing a sense of grief and loss that comes with the exsanguination of our neighborhood schools. Our neighborhood schools were the reason many of us bought into 33C, and the reason many of us think we stood out from neighboring districts. We fear the dissolution of necessary foundational relationships will be quick to follow. That fear was supported at Butler Curriculum Night when all parents in the 4th grade lost their last true immersive experience they came to expect. We were chucked into a dirty gym and given a 10-minute presentation barely cohesive enough to follow. As many parents have said, you did this. This year was anticipated to be met with excellence, and you found it appropriate to welcome a crisis situation into our community. On top of that, you hung principals, teachers, and support staff out to dry as they were forced to field angry, concerned, and disgruntled parents. Dr. Shapi, your EED is supposed to come attached with an acute focus on problem resolution and policy implementation. Do you understand the policies you are implementing, or do you just not care? When COVID shut down schools, I had a daughter in 8th grade and one in kindergarten. That kindergartner is now in 4th. This is the 5th year running our district has faced some sort of major change or upset. I cannot express how sad I am to know children in this district, 4th grade and younger, do not know what it is like to experience a normal school year. All of you sit up there in executive chairs bound by contractual obligations that were obtained through pledges of a deep and trusting relationship with 33C. They are not thrones, they are not pontiff chairs. We are not your peasants, and nor are we your devoted disciples. Our children are the consumers of your education, and therefore you work for them. Those chairs are on wheels for a reason. This is the 5th year running we are forced to listen to you pass blame, promise action, and beg for patience. Stop gaslighting and take accountability. Start by recognizing you and you alone are responsible for 5 years of disruptions to the educational environment. Consider the effect 5 years of instability will have on their future. Until you do that, your apology, just like your skills, lack authenticity and merit. Leaders lead. Cowards hide behind bureaucratic and regulatory dialect. Our children are entitled to a stable learning environment. Stop removing their value and get on your hands and knees and give them back what you've taken away tenfold.
comments. Item 4, consent agenda. And, yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Community Board. I wanted to give an update on the July 2023 homework on district performance. In July, the district expended $5.6 million and received $4.47 million, resulting in a decrease to our fund. Actually, we had a decrease to our fund balance of $1.13 million. We started the month